Hi everyone, it's Good for the Game TV, 9 o'clock on a Thursday night. It's time for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. Welcome back to our female audience. A lot of you left last week with Hein hosting the show, but you're back. I'm here, girls. Don't worry about it. I think the numbers have improved. Good to have you on the show. We've got plenty of rugby to talk about, 6 Super Rugby games. But what excites me tonight, I've had a bit of a pre-show chat with the boys, and they're very bullish about some of the bets. So really looking forward to get stuck into those. Good to have you on the show. Look forward to chatting to you guys on the live chat as well. And lots to look forward to. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Make sure you don't miss any of our videos. But let's first introduce the panel. And we'll start with Sean Nicholas in Johannesburg. He was let down by his beloved Lions last week, but I don't think that took anything off the damper of Liverpool doing so well in the Champions League.
Yeah, nothing else, Brent. It's good to be back. Nothing can take that away. Barcelona will always have that, and we've got a final to go with, so that's going to keep us going, for the next 2 weeks. Those Lions, I knew when Hendrik said that he really fancied the Waratahs, I knew that was danger signs, but I kept going, and it was painful to watch.
Well, I wasn't on the show last week, but I also ended up going one. I also liked the Lions, and I also backed the -3.5 at halftime, and they didn't take that penalty near the end. But what swung me, although Hendrik was confident on the Waratahs, he did admit that he didn't know that Whiteley was going to be playing. And that just swung me to think, maybe Hendrik's underestimated this. But in actual fact, the Lions were awful. And as you said on Twitter, sloppy seconds was about all that helped them stay in touch. Terrible. Well, let's move on to Couch Critic. Couch, good to have you on the show. Thanks very much for hosting last week. It's a little bit different to host than be a guest, eh?
Cheers, Ben. Thanks. Yeah, it's much nicer being in the guest chair than being the host. I can tell you that. It's a lot less stressful, eh?
It certainly is, but anyway, you did a great job as host. Got lots of good feedback. Then I managed to catch the end of the show as well and really enjoyed it, watched the rest of it the next morning. And now guys already commented in the live chats to say he's got a few strong fancies this week, and that's good news for all of us. It's Hendrik Swart. Hendrik, how are you?
Hi, Brent. I'm good, thanks. I had an okay weekend last week, and really looking forward to this week. It looks a nice set of fixtures, and before the show, I told you I actually fancy doing a accumulator again this weekend. It's been about 2 months since I've done that, but I have a few strong fancies, so I'll go for an accumulator again this weekend.
Right, and there's plenty of other stuff to bet on this weekend, of course, including the golf, where I must say my early pick, Brooks Koepka, is going along quite nicely. So I'll be watching that later tonight as well. Loads of picks, and I know Hein is getting involved in the Giro d'Italia as well. But guys, let's get straight into the action because we've got 6 games to talk about, and if we all fancy them highly, we're going to be talking for quite a long time. And let's start off with the Hurricanes against the Jaguares, and that is taking place, of course, in Wellington. And Hendrik, I want to start with you here. The handicap opened, I think, at 14.5. It's gone into 11.5 in places. I'm on Sunbet at the moment. I see they're betting 12.5 points. So Hurricanes -12.5, and the Jags are at +12.5.
I'm on a plus here, Brent, like most guys probably. I think this is a very nice plus, and it's too big. I expect the Hurricanes to probably win the game, but I give the Jaguares a good chance to actually win the game. Yes, I expect the Hurricanes not to win by more than a converted try. So the best plus you can currently get, I'll take it. I'll actually take a lower plus at better odds even as well. I like the team that Jaguares have picked. They got their best guys back. A few of them were on the bench last week. And resting Bowden Barrett, that's a big blow for the Hurricanes. So they'll really miss him. The rest of the team is pretty strong, but you can't discount Bowden Barrett. With Brendan Pickerel being the ref here, I'll have a look at. I always look at unders when he's the ref. He's a nice unders ref. The Jaguares defense is pretty good, so I'll be going unders on Hurricanes points here, and I've seen 33.5. I'm very happy to take the unders on that, but hopefully we can get 34.5 somewhere.
Just quickly before we move on, I think you spotted that Bet Exchange are priced up early on their points this week.
Yeah, they were really early up. They were up last night already, I saw, and a few of those quotes are very much higher than what I expected. So I've already placed a few bets. So it's very nice of them coming out on a Wednesday evening already. That can be a weekly occurrence from now on.
Well, credit to Bet Exchange there. I don't know about you, Couch, but when I saw Hendrik saying he was getting stuck into all those Bet Exchange point lines, I was thinking if he hits them all, it might be the first and last time they come out early with their lines.
Yes, Brent, I was actually thinking they were definitely gonna move there as soon as Heinrich was talking about points, but I must say they held firm for a while, and I actually had a chance to check some of my bookies, and they were there, so it was good to get some of the points lines, and it's, as Heinrich will say, it's nice getting on those early. It's nice of them to come out and have the confidence, even though they might be following. It's still nice that it's out there and you can have a go beforehand rather than waiting till just before kickoff.
Right, and on the game, what do you think of the handicap there? Are you also one of the mini punters on the Jaguares plus?
Yes, again, I think that early one, if you got onto plus 14, that would have been superb. I'm a great fan of obviously the 14-point buffer, so that was really great. Now at 11, it's a little bit more of a thinker because you never know with the Hurricanes there at the end what can happen. But I mean, I think people have been disrespecting the Jaguares quite a lot, and a decent side, and I think they've actually got a bit of a chance of an upset and picking up the win, and they definitely real runners for the conference. So I think we might know a lot more about that after this weekend if they can either run the Hurricanes close or even pick up the win. And then there's a bet that I went with, a special that I have a better limp on this one is the halftime full-time margin, which we hit last week on one of the games, and that's Jaguares to lead by 1-8 at halftime, and then the Hurricanes to win the game by 1-12 at the end. That gets you at 12-1. I think that's a lovely play.
Now that's a nice bet, and at 12-1, you can't do too much damage there. Let's move across to Sean to see what he fancies this game. I mean, if Sean rubber stamps this, because I also like the Jags, this may well be our newsletter bet first game.
Yeah, I'm rubber stamping. Get the newsletter ready. Get put the banners out on the street poles tonight. Jaguares plus, fantastic. I just think I agree with everything you guys have said, and I think that's the Jaguares have the Jaguars, whatever you want to call them. I think they've got a good chance of winning the game. But if they come away with the losing bonus points, I think they'll be happy with the result. So they're definitely going to target losing within 7. So I think that plus 14, if you got it, that's that's just fantastic. So definitely rubber stamping. Their changes to the pack, I think they're going to dominate that Canes pack, and it should be they can have a good chance. I mean, against the Highlanders, they should have maybe hung up for the win, and they just didn't. So they'll take confidence into this game. So yeah, plus 14.5. If you got that, stay on that. That's gold.
Right. Well, after the confidence of the panel there, we're going to take a slight commercial break so I can quickly get my bet on, because as much as I like them, I haven't actually got involved yet, and I can see that this line might well shorten into about the 10.5 point mark by the time things kick off. But Sean, let's stay with you then, and we'll move on. If no one else has got anything to add on that game, we'll move on to the Rebels against the Bulls. That's taking place late in the morning in Melbourne. And this handicap, I think, Sean, has been a bit more stable in the week at 7.5 points. I had quite a hectic week, so I didn't really follow too closely, but it was pretty much, I think, where I would have expected it as well. Looks from Sunbet's side that there might be a bit of support for the Bulls, but would you say the bookies have got this about right?
Yeah, I think this is well set, about the 7 mark. I think this is it's quite a tough one to call in the handicap, but I think the value lies in I think the Rebels will win this game, so I think the Rebels 1-12 would be a good one. Bulls were awful against the Crusaders. They just heard news that Pollard's leaving for France. I don't know, just something, Creel's leaving for Japan, I think. So just the Bulls, they've lost their way a bit. And I think the Rebels are a good side, especially at home. They've named a good team. Maddox is there, Billy Meeks. It's Quade Cooper's retained 10. Good side. So I think Rebels 1-12 is the way I'd go. Leave the handicap. I'd go with that.
Rebels 1-12 points there. Let's go to Couch. Couch, what do you reckon on this one?
Yeah, I'm following Sean in with that 100%. I've got 2-1 with better Olymp on the Rebels 1-12 there. I think the Bulls are going to be up for this one. They're going to want to give it a go. First game on tour, and as I think Heinrich has mentioned before, I think some of the Pollard and Vermeulen will probably rest later on in the tour. So the first 2 games are going to be, I think the Bulls are going to give everything. If they come up short, then the wheels could come off. So it's going to be everything in, but at the end they'll probably come up just short. So that's why the Rebels 1-12 rather than the handicap. And yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. But I think the Bulls might surprise us here and put up quite a decent fight. And I'm a bit worried that the Rebels have maybe a bit of a second half of the season slump. I mean, they struggled to put the team away last week as well, and they haven't really been in the great nick the last 4 weeks. So I'm a bit concerned there.
Right, well, I see on the sports betting side, the Rebels by under 12.5 points. That's priced at 16-10. Let's go over to Henrik and see what he thinks of this one.
I'm 100% with the other 2 guys, also on the Rebels 1-12. Originally I fancied the Rebels and the minus here, but as the week progressed, I shifted a bit more to the Bulls. I think, my only concern about the Bulls is they don't like playing away from Loftus. They traditionally don't tour that well. So I think the Rebels should do enough to win here. Both teams should be desperate for this game, both are in very tightly contested conferences. So I'll go. I'm not strong on this one, but I'll go for the Rebels 1-12 as a bit of a value bet.
Well, please you mentioned the word strong, because B Strong in the live chat, he likes the Bulls. He reckons the Bulls are going to win this week. And it's funny he mentions it, because I was looking at the Bulls form, and they win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So he reckons this is their time to win one. I wouldn't be putting my house down on that logic, but his point is really that the Bulls are incredibly inconsistent, and they are. You never know quite what to speak of them. And certainly against a team like a Rebels, I think they're going to be a lot more competitive, obviously, than they were against Crusaders. Emil also reckons that the Bulls will get something from this. So, guys, as far as Friday's games go, we're pretty much all united, because I'm also, if anything, I'm leaning towards the Bulls on the plus here. I'm not confident, but I like your thinking in terms of the Rebels 1-12. So that could be an interest for me, especially because I'm not going to be able to watch Friday's games, so at least get some involvement. Couch, before we move off the games, do you have anything for us? Anything else from a try scorer point of view?
Well, just in that Argentine game, or in the Jaguares game, I'm following Creevy again, so I'm going to give him a little go. I had him as last try scorer. This week he's starting, so I'll give him first try scorer. Hopefully the Jaguares start fast. I've got him at 24-1 with the Bet Elam special, and then in the other one, it's first try scorer Rebels. I'm going to give it to Maddox on the wing. He's scored a few tries, and I think they'll spread it wide against the Bulls early on there. So I've got him first try scorer at 8-1.
Right, and let's stay with you, Couch, then for the next game, which is the Blues up against the Chiefs. That, of course, is on Saturday morning. And here we got the Blues, depending on where you shop. I know at GG Gaming they were -5.5. I see 6.5 here at Sunbet. I'm going to go, while you're talking, I just want to go and look and see how I handicapped this game. But do you see any value there?
I was a bit surprised to hear Gary's confidence in the Blues minus there, but I think this one it's going to be tight. It's going to be a big tussle there, because I think the loser is going to be out of it completely. So they're basically playing for that honor. If you'd like to still be in with a shout, the loser is going to be out of this one. So it's going to be a bit of effort, and I think the Chiefs have actually shown that they're quite up for a fight the last few weeks when everyone's thought they're going to go down. They've showed some spirit and showed some courage, so that's a bit of a concern. But the Blues have been knocking on the door, and things just haven't been clicking for them. And I think that hopefully sometime something's going to stick, and I think it might be this weekend. So I'm going to stick with the 1-12 play, which we often like to do in a Kiwi Derby. So I'm going to take Blues 1-12 again. I've got a nice 2-1, so I think that's pretty decent where I'm going to be sitting on this one, because I'm not too strong either way.
Right, well, I'm going to share my screen now, guys. And can you see it there, just as a matter of interest? Has it come on yet? Well,
not yet.
Oh, no, hold on. For some reason, it hasn't. It's not letting me share it, so I'm just going to cancel it for now. I'll come back to that one. Let's go.
Brent, I'll teach you how to do that next time, eh?
Thanks, man. Thanks, Jay. You can write the manual, mate. You can write the manual. But while Henrik's busy talking, I'm going to try and make sure I get the screen share going.
Yeah, I'm with Hein again here on the 1-12. I'll also like the Blues 1-12. Also, a game that I'm not strong on. Before the show, I said I have a few strong fancies, but these last two games I'm not that strong on. The Blues, they've shown they're tough to trust. It's always tough trusting the Blues, but I'll keep opposing the Chiefs. I don't like the Chiefs. They were lucky to beat the Sharks last week. The Sharks really threw that one away with that try just after the kickoff. The two-try blitz the Chiefs had. So, I'll go for the bigger odds on the 1-12 here again. And, Glenn Jackson is the ref here, and we all know how I feel about him when I see his name. It's just unders. So, if we can, the quote is already out, and I think the quote was 51.5 for total points, so I'll take unders on that one. And hopefully he gets the whistle out lots of times and blows the game nice and dead.
Right, well, I'm just sharing my screen here. I'm on the Pick and Go website, and I know that Hein is going to quite enjoy the stats I'm pulling up here. Because you can see that the Chiefs, in their last 7 matches away against the Blues, they haven't lost. In fact, they had 1 draw, and the rest have all been victories. And critically, Couch, all of those victories have been by 1-12 points.
Yeah, it's just a pity it isn't the Blues winning by 1-12 as I picked. So it's hopefully they're just going to switch that around. But again, it's a different season. This especially for the Kiwi teams and the Chiefs. They've got a whole turnaround there in squad. So I'm not too concerned in terms of team news on the Chiefs. So I'm with Heinrich there. I think they might have been lucky a bit, but I still think they've shown some character. But I think it's come on, Brent, you should be on the Blues train. Yeah, that's
no, I'm not.
your...
I just realised what I did. I was so convinced by those stats, which I looked at before the show, that I'm actually on the Chiefs by 1-12, and I just assumed you were going to be on there with me, and of course you weren't. You were on the Blues. So it's official, everybody. I'm going for the Chiefs tomorrow. This could be an historic moment. I'm going against the Blues, and you know what that means? They'll probably come home smoking. But I'm going on the Chiefs. I think, I just can't have this Blues team, and I think the Chiefs are the value there to potentially win the game. I'm going for them on Super Brew, and I'm hoping that Mr. Rugger Bugger is going to rubber stamp it for me.
No, Brent, I'm not going with the Chiefs. But also, this is a tough game. The Chiefs are good to oppose, like the guys have said. The Blues are tough to back. So I'm going to go with, where you can't get too hurt. I'm going to go Chiefs halftime, the Blues full time. I think it's 6-7-1. So you can't get too hurt on that. So just save this is another game to, save your money for the later ones.
Just welcome to a few of the other guys on the live chat. Nick G is here. Johan Scoombie is also here. So, guys, appreciate the comments. I'm going to have a good look through all of them, certainly at the end of the show. So, we've got a situation here where I'm probably going a little bit against the grain here with the Chiefs. Does anyone else have anything to add on this game before we move on?
I just want to say the Blues are going to hurt you for going against them, mate.
Yeah, that's written in the stars.
What's going to happen? If I back them, they're going to hurt me by losing. And if I don't back them, it's one of those games. I suppose the only alternative would be to sit it out. But I think it's time to break the run now. Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to win this one, and they're going to win it by a fairly narrow margin.
Brent, you just stick to your Chiefs there, please. That'll be great for us.
I'll have you know I'm on form, boys. I had a winning weekend last weekend. To see what Johan Scoombie says on the side. Chiefs resting Jacobson, who's been their best loose forward in a team that has been decimated by injuries. Thanks, Johan. I'm really feeling good reading this post. Chiefs are doing great under the circumstances, but the Blues should win this. As I was saying, I make the Blues a confident selection. Thanks very much, guys. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next game, the Reds against the Waratahs. And Sean, let me start with you here. This is a typical Australian derby, I guess. I know Hendrik's going to have some contribution on the total points line. But I see here the Waratahs appear to be narrow favourites on most books, but it's really a choice game.
Yeah, choice game. I know Gigi were plus 5.5 for the Reds, and that was a giveaway because I think this is a coin flip. I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be low, and the Waratahs. Look, they should have beat the Lions. They should have won that game. So, but they're just not playing with the brand of rugby that we used to. Reds are at home. I think the Reds might just sneak it. I'd go if you got 5.5 on the plus. I'd stick with that. But if looking at it now, I'd also go Reds 1-12 just for a bit of value.
Reds 1-12, yeah. Just to for the record, I do fancy that the Reds can win this game. I haven't been impressed with the Waratahs this season, and I do think the Reds, at their best, are capable of beating them. I can tell you, I won't share the page now, but the Waratahs, I think, have got an exceptional record against the Reds away. I think they've won something like 6 in a row. And we'll skip Couch out and come back. We'll come to him at the end. Let's go to Henrik now, because I know Henrik's got a view on this game, if not on the match, on the handicap and certainly on the points line, Henrik.
Yeah, Brent, on the match itself, I got some of the 17-10 Reds on Sunday when GG Gaming came out. Also took a bit of the plus 5.5, but yeah, we go on just the 17-10 rest to win. I don't rate the Waratahs. Last week going for them wasn't going for them. It was actually more going against the Lions. So I don't rate the Waratahs, and the Waratahs traveling back from South Africa. Reds at home, yeah, I just think the value is definitely with the Reds here, even if you're just taking the even money at the current levels. The 1-12, Sean mentioned, is actually a good bet, and I didn't think about that. This should be a tight game, so I don't see either team winning by more than 12. So that's a nice price that he probably got on the 1-12. But yeah, looking at the points, Bet Exchange, they came out to 57.5 as total points. That's at least 8 or 9 points too high for me. I was very surprised when I saw that quote. Last year, this was a crazy game. It was 93 points in this game, 15 tries between the two teams. The Waratahs won 52-41. It was a crazy amount of points. And yeah, maybe that influenced the bookmakers with the points that came out. But yeah, this 57.5 is too much. This is one of the better underplays for on the total points this weekend. Yeah, I'm very strong on the under 57.5 total points. Yeah,
I'll certainly be joining you on that one as well. Just a welcome out to some of the good for the game regulars who are also based offshore. Brad Breath is watching, and Three Pete is also on the show for the first time. He says it's just after 7 a.m. there in New Zealand. So Three Pete, look forward to your contribution. One day we'll have to have you on the show. You're a great contributor to the forum and never afraid to tell me when I've gone wrong. So I do appreciate that as well. And unfortunately, that happens on a fairly regular basis. But Couch, let's move on to you. Before I get your opinions on the betting, a couple of really key games for those of you still in contention with the big Super Brew leagues, the money leagues. And this is certainly one of them. Of course, the Lions and Highland has been another, which is a virtual choice game. Big pick on Super Brew. So start off with who you're going for on Super Brew and then give me your betting angle.
Yes, Brent, I think I actually commented to someone it's a big week, but I wouldn't say to you guys still in it in Super Brew because I had that one nightmarish 1 out of 7 weeks. So I probably exited the tournament about 3 weeks ago. So unfortunately, 6th or 7th is a bit too far back to just go for upset. So I think it's a really, really big weekend for Super Brew because you could make up if you go for someone like the Bulls this week, if you go for the Waratahs or something like that. Two of those upsets or smallish upsets. I always say it's kind of those 60-40 games. If you're in the 40, then you're making up good ground. So it's going to be a big one. Just in terms of the betting, yeah, I'm actually stealing Sean's play from the previous one. To me, it's too tight to call, and I'd rather go for some value. And I've gone for the Waratahs to start strong and the Reds to finish and win the game. Probably the Waratahs feeling the effects of the travel. So I think it's best to oppose them in the second half. So I've got 61 there on Waratahs to lead the first half and then the Reds to win. And then definitely I'm on at 57 as well. That was my first points play, or that's actually one of my only 2 points plays at this stage. And I'm with Heinrich there. That's probably my best bet to date that we've talked about thus far.
Right, I'm just interested, Three Pete, what are you having for breakfast this morning in New Zealand while you're watching the show? You could let us know that on the live chat. Guys, that takes us then to the Lions against the Highlanders. This is a game where there has been plenty of betting movement in the week. GG Gaming came out. Unfortunately, I was tied up on Sunday. I couldn't get involved in the early action, but I know Henrik got 13-10 on the Highlanders. I'm imagining the handicap was about plus 4.5 Highlanders or somewhere around there. Gary Lenton did say on the GG Gaming Gone Mad show that he's surprised that there's been so much money for the Highlanders, and he actually fancies the Lions to win. Although I was getting so tongue-tied at the end of the show, I'm going to go and watch it again and see what he really did say. And let's start with you here, Couch. Close game, certainly from a Super Brew pick, but is the money for the Highlanders spot on here?
Brent, I'm a big believer in thinking that people overreact to the previous week's result, and obviously we would have overreacted a lot because we were all on the Lions except Heinrich. So he was fine, but the rest of us were really angry, and I was actually hoping that betting wise it was good for me that the Jaguares came back in that game. But if the Highlanders kept one more try out, beat the Jaguares by 14, then maybe it would have been a slightly different. I thought it was going to open at evens. And it has come back to that. So I was actually hoping to get a little bit of value, maybe 12-10 on the Lions and then jumping there. And obviously, I think things have gone topsy-turvy this whole week. It's been up and down, trying to decide who I should be backing. I know I've got Heinrich in my one ear telling me it's ludicrous going for the red side, but I don't know. It's still a tough one. And at this stage, it's probably more a tussle between my Super Brew about who you're going to go for there. So a lot of games this week in terms of the betting, I've gone for something alternative if I didn't get the early handicap, and this is another one where I think you need to look at something a bit smarter because at even money, I don't know, to me I think you're shooting in the dark going for a winner. Yeah,
tough one to pick there. Let's go to Sean, get his views on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm firmly in the Highlanders camp. Just the massive news is Whiteley out. Just I was looking at the games that the Lions have played without Whiteley, and just the only one that they've lost that he played was against the Stormers in Cape Town, where that Egon Seconds was phenomenal. For the Stormers that day. The other games that he hasn't played, he missed out. When they weren't playing against the Bulls at Ellis Park, the Bulls won 30-12. At the Sharks won 42-5 against the Lions. The Brumbies away, but 11 points, and then the Crusaders away by 26 points. So when he doesn't play, the wheels come off. And I think that's Mark's a phenomenal player, but when he's the captain, he doesn't play as well as he normally does. So for me, that's a massive change. And I think that's the Highlanders are going to come here and they're going to just, put the Lions to the sword.
Now, Henrik, I'm going to bring you in, and I'm going to tell you that the Highlanders, the Lions have got a good record against the Highlanders at home. But you've been saying all season, this is not the Lions side of the past few years.
Yeah, I've actually commented that on the GG Gaming show as well. It's for me, it feels like the Panthers are still punting the Lions on their previous 3 years form. They're not the same side. They haven't been as dominant with their forwards. They've got a good pack. The scrum's all right, but last week against the Waratahs haven't got a very good pack, but the Lions couldn't dominate them. And I think the Highlanders will actually stand up to the Lions good, and I think the Highlanders might actually dominate them up front a bit. The log is very congested, and there's lots of teams that has lock points in the 20s, and those wildcard spots. There's lots of teams that are running for that wildcard spot. Both these two teams are still in it. I just think the Highlanders will be more desperate here, and I'm very confident the Highlanders winning the game. I got 13-10, but I'll still take even money or 9-10 on the Highlanders to win the game. And this is a 3 o'clock game at altitude. Rasta is the ref. The Lions, they don't care about defense. We saw that against the Waratahs, how easily the Waratahs scored points. There's a shouting overs on Islanders points. So I saw 28.5 for Islanders points at Bet Exchange. Anything under 30, I'll be all over it.
Excellent. Geez, I must admit, I do like those early points lines at Bet Exchange. A bit of different, guys seem to differ a little bit in this game, which I suppose is because it is such a close game. A few guys going Lions, a few guys going Highlanders in the live chat. Henrik, I must say to you last week, the total points line, I know I'd heard you guys talking, you were hoping for a nice overs, and the line opened at 58.5 total points. But by the time I wanted to get my bet on it, it moved to 61.5 or something like that. And you know what it's like? It only moved 3 points, but you think to yourself, I've missed the value. Let me wait for a bit of a slow start to the game, and I'm getting involved. And I mean, the tries just started flowing from the start. It was one of those games. And in the end, the only thing I did was I took a bit of Lions minus 3.5, unfortunately. But I think this could be another one of those where we get tries from the beginning of the match.
Yeah, and also last week was a game of 2 halves. I think the halftime total points line was 71. So, and if you went under than that, you would have cruised in. There was a lot of points in the first half, and then it dried up in the second half.
In fact, I mean, I think actually, now that I think about it, because I was all upset with myself for not betting, but that bet would have been a loser anyway, the overs. That was 7 or something in the game, eh?
It would have been a loser. I think what was I think it was 55 or 57 points.
Yes, it was something like that. Yes, no, it was like something like 29, 28. I think 57 points in the game.
It would have lost regardless if you went minus 3.5 or the overs on the total points, you would have lost. Yeah, so I keep hammering on about the game of 2 halves as well. But last week I missed out on this one as well because I was wary because Egan Seconds was the ref and at altitude, it's tough going unders. But you guys should have a look at this. If there's lots of points in the first half, don't be put off to go unders at half time.
Well, Egan Seconds clearly impressed the administrators on the weekend with his performance because he's reffing my son's game, Ram Park Harvey, 4 ways high on Saturday morning at 10-9, just hoping the penalty count stacks up in the home team's favour. Couch, I just want to quickly bring you in there. A few of the boys saying, Emil saying, Nahalo, of course, coming off the bench, and then Dina saying, Saki Nahalo for the last try scorer.
Yeah, definitely, that's a good runner. But if you think like me that the Lions are going to finish stronger, then you're going for Sean's Tyrone Green again. I mean, that's a decent one. Marnus is starting this week, so he's not going to be my last try scorer, that's for sure. But first try scorer, you could be going for Marnus, but it's so loose. It's often not really a mole for the Lions these days. So no, that is a decent play. I'm thinking Marnus first and probably Tyrone Green. But Waisaki obviously is a good alternative. But I don't know. People are saying this altitude doesn't play a role and things like that. I don't agree. I think the Islanders are going to be burning in that last 20. And Warren Whiteley not being there, I actually think the balance of the loose chair might be a little bit better. Marnus is an out-and-out fetcher. Quagga is going to be able to play loose. They've got Carl Brink in there. Carl Brink is much more physical at 7. Stefan Levies is starting at lock, which is also an improvement to what they had earlier in the season. And Dylan Smith is back. So, and Harold Forster is playing his second game back. So don't worry, boys. I think I've got the one that I do like is Highlanders first half, Lions to win 6-1. Another one there. So there you go. I've given my Super Brew away. It's Lions for the win.
Yeah, I must say, I think altitude plays a massive role because the Lions were clearly struggling at altitude for the second half last week. And I think, Henrik, you might have made that comment on one of the WhatsApp groups you're on, but they really seemed to battle towards the end of that game. But yeah, it does seem as though teams have adapted a lot more. Shannon Frizzell, Johan says, also not a bad bet for the last try. One more game.
That's a great one. That's actually he's starting though. Just Shannon Frizzell is starting at 8. So last try scorer, yes, he's obviously hopefully still going to be on the park, but don't think he's going to be playing off the bench for that last try.
Right, and Henrik, you wanted to say something there?
Yeah, about the altitude, I hear what Diane's saying, but I just feel, especially the New Zealand teams, I feel they've worked out the altitude. It hasn't bothered them that much. We could see it last year. I was at Loftus with that All Blacks come back as well.
True.
I just think the New Zealand teams, they've worked it out, and I don't see it bothering the Islanders that much. But we'll have to see whether. Yeah.
But I mean, let's face it, the Crusaders against the Bulls, the Crusaders actually tried to speed that game up against the Bulls as much as possible. So clearly the altitude wasn't a concern for them. They actually wanted to tire the Bulls out.
Yeah, and the Crusaders, they won going away. They looked like they were finishing much stronger of the two sides.
That's a whole different ball game, guys. Whole different ball game. The Lions play a much faster game. The Bulls, though, it's new to the Bulls to try and play this game. The Lions, I think actually the whole thing that Swayze does and he goes over the top is he wants to make it that fast in the first half because he's hoping it kicks in the second half, which is pretty much ludicrous. He can just play a normal game and rely on his quality forwards, but he just refuses to do it. I don't know why, but we'll see, lads. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm just glad I'm gonna catch hard on that table in Super Brew. I'm really excited about that.
Guys, while we're talking Super Brew, we're going to have a big World Cup competition. 500 Rand gets you in. Let's play for a big pot. Make sure you stay close and you get involved in that one. Let's go on to the last game of the weekend. It's the Stormers against the Crusaders. I see on Sunday you had the plus 12.5 Stormers at home. And Sean, you've been quiet for a while while these two guys have bickered about altitude. You can start us off on this one.
I think this one, when the line came out to 14.5 for the Stormers, which looked, the way to go at that level. I think it's going to be tight. I think the Stormers, they've been talking about defense the whole week. Etzebeth's talking about, he doesn't care about his moves to Toulon. He's thinking about the job at hand. I just think the Stormers are going to put everything into keeping the Crusaders out. So I'd be leaning on the plus. At current levels, I'd also lean at the 12.5, but not too strong. I mean, there's other. The Highlanders and the Jaguars are the ways to go this weekend.
Yeah, there's other bets there. And then let's go to Henrik because I think he's going to have a total points bet for us there.
No, Brent, this is going to be an epic game. For me, this is the game of the weekend. It's going to be a test match, I think. And yeah, I got early on the Stormers plus 14.5 at 9-10 with GG Gaming. And I think the Stormers they're going to be really up for this game. I think it's going to be a tightly contested game. And I think the Stormers can actually run the Crusaders really close here. Both these teams are very sound defensively, and Norman Laker has spoken in the media this week about the focusing on the defense. And yeah, the Stormers defense has really come on well with him being the defense coach. So this game looks like a unders game because both teams are very good defensively. So yeah, that 55.5 available at Bet Exchange and Bet Olymp, I think. I really like the under 55.5 here, but I like the Stormers even at the current levels of plus 12.5. I like the Stormers here as well.
Yeah, maybe shop around. You might get 13.5. Couch, are you in the Stormers camp as well?
Brent, I'm pretty sure the Bulls talked about defense last week before the game as well, but they talked more about it after the game. So I'm just, I think the Stormers might be sitting Saturday evening and still be talking about how to stop the Crusaders as well. It's one thing talking about it; it's a completely different thing stopping this Crusaders team. I am with the guys though. I think they'll try everything. They're going to try their hearts out. But to me, that handicap's a bit tough. In that second half, it's one try either way could spoil it, and those Crusaders just know when to engage fifth gear. So the points I do like. I don't like it as much as the earlier one, but I do like it. That's my second points play. And then I've actually got Crusaders to lead by 1-7 at the break. I think it's going to be tight for the first half, and then the Crusaders will probably just about ease it, in front of their home fans.
Right, that sounds like a game where certainly on unders we're quite unified on this one. I see Three-Peat saying to Henrik, how can you go against the Stormers? Although he does admit to loving Henrik's tips as well. Guys, yeah, I've got to say that I think that under 55.5 that Henrik highlighted is cracking value. I struggle to back against the Crusaders. I always do. I just think they're such a team. Although I don't argue with the fact that the 14.5 was probably the value there on the Stormers. But looks like it's going to be a cracking weekend. Anything else on this game before we move on to our best bets? Nothing coming from the guys. Guys, before we move on to the best bets, I do want to ask you one thing. That European Champions Cup final last week between Leinster and Saracens. Henrik, I'll go to you. What an incredible game of rugby.
Brilliant. Wow, that was incredible. I really enjoyed that. Both those sides so intense in the forwards and defensively brilliant. Oh, that was a great game. I really enjoyed it. And
you, Sean, did you watch it?
Yeah, I know. Having called doing the great analysis by backing the red team for that game. I mean, we got it spot on. Hey, and we got it. We called that one greatly. But yeah, it was a great. I mean, defense wins championships, and that was a key. That was amazing. Barrett he was a machine. He was, and Vanapola. They were just, Saracens are one of the best club sides. They talk about it. If you could get Saracens and the Crusaders to play each other, after the season, provided the Crusaders win, I think that would be a marquee game. If you could do it once a year, one in Europe, one in our side, Southern Hemisphere, I think that would be the game of all games.
Yeah, it certainly would be good. And final thoughts on that one before we get into the best bets, Couch?
Yeah, I think it would be a great idea having that game, and I think it's just another example for your love for the North is that I think they've got more clashes where you've got to play that tight, test match kind of rugby, where the Southern Hemisphere, it's often a little bit looser. And I mean, as the Lions have showed, defense isn't always the number one thing. In Northern Hemisphere, it's a lot tighter, even though it's not necessarily not pretty and not good rugby. It's tighter and it's more test match like. So that's, I think, why they've caught up quite a bit.
Excellent. Guys, we're going to move on to the best bets now. I see Henrik typing away. I think he's replying to Three-Peat. He's finished his poached eggs and mince or whatever he was having for brekkie. But Three-Peat, it's been great to have you on the show. Bring a few more of your New Zealand mates along as well. Let's go with the best bets. So, Henrik, I'm going to start with you. Your best bet for the weekend.
Brent, I really like those two unders on the total points, the Reds game and the Stormers game, especially the Stormers game. But on the handicaps, the Jaguares on the plus, the best bet.
Jaguares on the plus, right, Couch?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as Henrik on that one. Jaguares on the biggest plus you can get, and then mine is actually on the Reds. Waratahs won the 57, go unders on that. That's my two favorite plays for the weekend.
Looks like we're going unders this weekend, Sean.
Yeah, definitely the Jags on the plus. You can get 12.5 even now. I'd take that. So I think it's going to be, I think the most of the Hurricanes can win is 10. I think that they can't, it's going to be about 3 or 4 points going into the final play either way. And the Jags might even get a chance to win the game. So I think that plus is great. And then I'll also rubber stamp those unders when Henrik says he likes unders so early on a Wednesday night. I mean, there's nothing else to do but back that.
Now, I must admit, I'm definitely going for Henrik's unders. I do worry as the competition gets on that things tend to start opening up, but I think those lines are good 3 or 4, maybe even 5 points higher than we might have expected in those games. So I'm going unders as well. I'm going to make the under 55.5 in the Crusaders game. I'm going to go with that, probably as the best one. Well, interesting to see which one sneaks into the newsletter. I'll put a link to the newsletter below the show, although it may well be that we go with more than one bet tomorrow. Guys, thanks very much for joining me. Thanks very much as well to all of you contributed to the live chat. Donnie DeChoy is just giving a final word, Henrik.
Yeah,
and leaving it to you. You say, what's your accumulator? You said you were in the mood for an accumulator this weekend.
Plus on the Jaguares, unders in the Reds versus Waratahs game, unders in the Stormers game, and overs on the Islanders, points all Islanders to win the game. That's the fourfold.
Excellent. Well, I'll work that one out and put that in the newsletter as well tomorrow. So we'll put that in the good for the game. Just a first timer, I think, coming in here late. Fact Exorcist, I think his name is. Welcome to the show. Sorry, you just caught the end, but the good news is you can still watch the show and just come in a little bit earlier. Is he on
the right live chat?
Yeah, I think he actually meant to come on GG Gaming Gone Mad. Guys, thanks very much. Thanks to all of you boys in the live chat. Been great having you on. It's been an enjoyable show. And one of those shows where we're all pretty confident. What does that mean? Actually, not a hell of a lot, but let's hope we hit those bookmakers hard. Thanks, everyone. Subscribe down below and look out for Monday night show, Use It or Lose It, where we'll be talking about some of the hot non-betting related topics in rugby.